All right, and finally, we've reached the end of the game. So I figured I'd just do this in the credits. That way I can do two for one. I can, have the credits roll, and then I can also share my thoughts and my review on God of War Ragnarok since we are finally at the end of it. It took, what, 37, 38 episodes, I think. Um, all right, yeah, so, I know I didn't really get to commentate much on the videos simply because I didn't really have time and they ended up being a lot longer than I thought, but I don't know because this game was longer than 2018, God of War 2018. But yeah, um, I'll just say right off the bat that this definitely was my contender for the game of the year. Um, I will actually be doing that video here pretty shortly of my top 5 games of 2022. But this one definitely is definitely on that list. I won't tell you where, um but yeah, I absolutely enjoyed it. The story was great. Um yeah, the story was great. The gameplay was much improved from 2018. And yeah, the voice acting, the acting in general, the yeah, just the overall level design, um a lot of it was pretty good. It was really good. Very good actually. Um but So I think I will talk about the negatives. There's just the few little nitpicks that I had, I think, which I think a few people had, really. I know a lot of people did not like the fact that a lot of the times your companions would spoil like the puzzles for you, and I was definitely one of them. There's like a few times where you're trying to solve the puzzle, and before you even had a chance to figure it out, one of your companion just blurts out the answer right to you, and it's like, gee, thanks. I was hoping to figure that out myself, but you beat me to the punch. And there wasn't any option to like turn that off. I know some people said that you can turn it down, but it didn't really seem to make much of a difference. So it's a little nitpick. I didn't really like it all that much because, most times, like, the puzzles were not really that difficult. It was just keeping your companions to shut up long enough so, you could actually solve it. And sometimes they would just solve it within, like, the first 10 or 15 seconds. So it's like, geez, way to, like, you know, way to steal that. So I feel like if developers are going to do something like that in their games, they should really make it like an option, a toggle option, an accessibility option, in my opinion, for people that they just want to play the game. They don't care about the puzzles. You can and then you're gonna just have them being solved for you. Some people are like that. They just prefer to play the story. That's totally fine. It's up to personal preference. I think it should just be up to it should be allowed to up to the player to decide whether or not they want that kind of stuff in their game or in their experience. But and then I would suppose like another nitpick I had would be this one's mostly a personal one to me, honestly, because I found myself burnt out before after the end of the game. I didn't end up continuing to play any of like the side content. I still have yet to do it, and as of right now, we're in like mid-January, okay? And this game came out in like early November. So, as of now, I still have not gone back to actually play it, mostly because I was doing like Crisis Core and other stuff. But I have not, yeah, I haven't gone back to do like some other side content and stuff, or like fight any of the super hard enemies. And yeah, and for some reason I just don't have the desire to. It's not that I did not like the game. It's just more or less like once you put like all the time, because the story in this one is definitely much longer than 2018. And by the time you get to the end of it, like 30 hours in or something like that, which I think is how long it took me to complete the main story. I was pretty much like just done with like action games because I played quite a few of them in 2022 actually. So, yeah, it was just kind of like, and then I do remember that I specifically did play 2018 because I did put that on the channel. So I specifically played 2018 beforehand. So it was like I played a lot of God of War last year. So I think that might have helped contribute to the burnout or something like that. Because it's not that I didn't like the game. I'll reiterate that again. I loved the game, I absolutely loved it. The gameplay was great, much better than 2018. I don't know if I could ever go back and play 2018. Maybe I will. I don't know. But with all the stuff that they added into this one, it makes it hard to go back. You know, kind of like what Doom Eternal did for Doom 2018, you know? Or 2017, 2016? I don't remember what it was. But yeah, you know, because Doom Eternal added so much to it, it's like hard to go back to the old game, even though some people prefer the first game over Doom Eternal, and then how some people prefer 2018 over Ragnarok, which makes sense. But I probably will most likely go back to the side content at some point. But that was more of like just a personal nitpick, was just that I got burnt out after playing like the whole story. Because like after the story, I just didn't have any desire to go back and do any of the other stuff. So I think those were like my only nitpicks, really. Like my only real gripes with the game, I suppose, was mostly just the fact that your teammates would spoil puzzles and stuff. Because that stuff I like figuring out. I played puzzle games before, you know, platformers and stuff like that, where they had like puzzles. Obviously, I love Resident Evil, so solving puzzles is, you know, fun. But when the game like tells you what to do, it just sucks the fun out of it. So yeah. So it made it so like the puzzles were pretty kind of you know. Um Let's see. Yeah, so I will go into now my positives, I think. If I find any more negatives, I'll leave it towards the end of the video, but or I'll just kind of sprinkle them in there. But first, overall, I'm going to start with the story. The story was an absolute banger. Okay? They covered a lot of shit in this game. Like, considering that they were trying to keep this just 2 games instead of 3, they had to put a lot of stuff in this game in order to basically, you know, solve all the plot points and all that stuff, and then, you know, even tell a compelling story. And I, for one, feel like they did a really good job. So like, yeah, like the little nitpick, like towards the end of it, you start to see some of the rushed parts of the story. You know, you start to see that because they were trying to squeeze in a lot, so you end up seeing a lot of jumps, or it feels like a lot of rush bits in the story because they were trying to squeeze it all in there. But overall, it still really didn't diminish the overall story. It was still really well done. The ending was satisfying, and I can't wait to see what they do next. You know, if they plan on doing an Atreus DLC specifically for this, I don't know if they will, or if they were setting it up for an Atreus single player game, you know, or if they're going to continue with Kratos in any sort of way or anything like that, what they plan to do in the future. I'm very interested, and to see what mythology they go jump into next, which a lot of hints say Egypt, which kind of sounds pretty awesome. So yeah, overall the story was really great. For those that actually watched the video, I don't know if or if I watched all the videos and stuff, but I won't necessarily spoil any of the story bits. But you know, I'll talk a little bit. Odin ended up being a really great enemy, villain, protagonist, whatever you want to call it. He had like this CEO, Odin, as people called him. He had like this gangster, you know, this gangster vibe with him, you know, head mob boss type shit. And it was really interesting because how I viewed Odin was like the way that they told him in 2018 is I imagined he was just this massive douchebag, you know, like full of muscles, and he just had like this very, very asshole, you know, mentality about him. Even though this Odin did, he really did. He was very he was a silver-tongued devil, I'll tell you that. So he was really well done. And then Thor was incredible. Every time he was on screen, I was just glued, eyes are glued to it, just waiting to see what he would do, you know, for like the little moments that he was there. And the fights with him were really great. The fight with Odin was really great. I enjoyed it. Um, the bosses, the bosses were really great. Oh wait, I'm not getting to that point yet. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're still talking about the story. So, um, yeah. So all the side characters are really good. Um, the oh, the hero. Well, maybe not the hero, but the guy who stole the show was Sindri. Absolutely, Sindri stole the show. He went from this really this really goofy character in 2018 with like not so much goofy, but this character in 2018 to like this whole his arc is incredible. I won't spoil it, but his arc was incredible. Like absolutely. Brock was Brock. He was great. He was great from 2018 to this game. Atreus got a lot better too. I liked him as well. Like 2018, he's like this little kid, so he had his annoying moments where he got cocky and stuff. But then in this game, it was like him trying to figure out what he was and stuff, and it was amazing, seeing that. Mimir was great as usual. Freya was great as well. And Grabota was actually a really good character as well for like the little screen time that she had. Thrud was pretty good. Heimdall, total asshole. You, he was perfect for that. He was definitely one of those guys that you wanted to murder. Like, when you first saw him, you're like, oh my god, this dude is an ass. He deserves to die, you know? And then, like, yeah, so all the characters are really good. Like, Ratatasker was great. Bitter Squirrel had me laughing. This one line that he said was hilarious. But Ratatasker was actually played by, I believe, a YouTuber. I don't remember his name, but sorry, don't crucify me for that, for not knowing that. But yeah, I just heard that. I heard that it was he was voiced by a YouTuber, I believe, or a streamer, but did a really good. He did a really great job. So yeah, overall the story was good. No complaints really. I didn't have any complaints with it. So now we'll talk about gameplay. Yeah, gameplay, as I said earlier, was much improved from 2018. They added a new weapon in there. You obviously got to use from the start. You got to use the blades and the axe, and then they added some other stuff, and they improved the shield fighting, the melee combat. I like that. The enemy variety, hands down, was the best thing ever. Because that was everybody's complaint in 2018. Mine as well. Like, the enemy variety was very lackluster in 2018. And this one, it was like, there was so many different kinds of enemies. It was great. I don't even think I've ran into all of them, to be honest. Because I haven't fought like all the optional bosses or anything like that. But it's definitely a lot of enemy variety. And that was excellent, because it always felt like there was something different, you know? And yeah, they did a lot of environmental puzzles. I'm gonna add this with the gameplay as well. A lot of it, like environmental puzzles and stuff, where you use different kinds of weapons. It was almost Metrovania-esque in a way. Like, once you got like a new ability, you would come back. But that was also the same way in 2018 as well. So that wasn't really any different. But yeah. Not really much to say about the gameplay. It's just like it was pretty much 2018 just ramped up, to like 11, And yeah, so hands down it was a lot of fun to play. Oh yeah, Kratos felt way more fluid in my opinion. He didn't feel like he was walking in mud, He felt way more fluid. He felt faster, And then like being able to jump around the maps and stuff, and then you can jump off the ledges and do attacks that way. I didn't do those a whole lot, but I did when the opportunities arose. But yeah, they did a lot of good stuff. Like Kratos felt in your companions excellent. every time you had one, it felt very different. You know, they all did something different, and it was really cool. It was enjoyable having all the like the different companions that you could have, and yeah, it was how could I forget this? Atreus, playing as Atreus was fantastic. Like it would if that was their setup to set up an Atreus like solo game, woo! I can't wait to see what they do to expand his combat because playing as Atreus was absolutely fun. You know, being able to shoot your bow, get up there and do melee attacks, his magic abilities that he had, like he just felt really fun to play. Like he felt really different from Kratos, like you could tell, and that's what was great about it because it didn't feel like it was just another, you know, yeah, he just felt really different, and yeah, hands down probably the best archer combat I've ever played in a game because it felt really fast, like because how you were able to just switch immediately from melee going into bow combat and whatnot, and then doing your magic and stuff. Yeah, it was whew. That was really fun. It was really fun playing as Atreus, and I'm glad that they let you play as him as many times as they did. I think it was like 3 different times you got to play as him, and they were pretty lengthy segments. They could be, you know. So yeah, it was hands down great. So overall, I love I love the gameplay, much improved from 2018. You know, little gripes here and there, but you know that's how it goes. And then I'll slightly touch on like the music. Bear McCreary, he killed it again. The credit song that plays, or the very first song that plays during the credits, absolute banger. I actually saved that on Spotify once it came out, so I could listen to that song. But yeah, the music was fantastic. If every moment it had good music that fit the situation, the scenarios, and all that stuff, and the sound was even the sound was great too. So yeah, no complaints on the music. And then we'll go into the voice acting. The voice acting was top notch, very well done. Christopher Judge killed it again as Kratos, and then Sonny did a really good job with Atreus. So, and then all the other voice actors that came back to reprise their roles did really great jobs. And yeah, absolutely no complaints on the voice acting. The voice acting was great. I think that was probably the main thing that I loved about this game was the voice acting, was just the acting in general because I was every cutscene I was locked in. I was glued, you know, just watching the performances, you know, and it was I think that was probably the best thing about this game, at least in my opinion, was the acting, and everything about it was just excellent, you know. And I think that's and then once I do talk about my games of the year, I will elaborate a little bit more as to why I made the decisions that I made on why the games were, yeah. But yeah, so what else can we talk about in this game? That yeah, pretty much it was just all like just heaps of praise I'm just throwing at it, you know, but I think everybody for the most part, most people who play this game, I know some people didn't like it, but I think for the most part everybody did genuinely enjoy this game, and I did as well. It's a shame I didn't really have the time to commentate it, which is a shame because you know it was my very first blind playthrough. Because most games that I have posted on the channel I have played before, so this would have been the first that I actually, when it was playing the whole thing blind, as a I was recording it as I was playing it, and I wanted everybody to see my reactions, but I also wanted people to enjoy the cutscenes as well. So having my reactions during that probably wouldn't have been, but yeah. Um, Yeah, it was just an overall fantastic game. So I guess I would say what my rating would be. I'm still trying to figure out how I want to do ratings. If I want to do 1 through 10 scale, do a letter, a grade, or just say like buy, sell, or rent. Maybe I'll just do different ones. So, if I'm gonna say my personal score, this game was definitely a 9 out of 10. Definitely a 9 out of 10. Um, or no, my personal score would be a 10 out of 10. Absolutely 10 out of 10. And then if I'm being a critic, I would say a 9 out of 10. To Yeah, because of the little gripes, kind of knocks it down a little bit. It's not a big deal. Doesn't really ruin the experience all that much, but it's still enough for it to be noticeable considering how often it happened. Oh, and I guess I should say that also, like, a lot of times during combat, your companions would repeat the same lines, especially when you're on fire. Like Atreus was always saying that, like, he said it so much I got it burned into my head. He's like, "You're on fire, but I guess you already knew that," And he'd say that every time you got on fire, and it was just it got obnoxious. So it was like another little nitpick. So that would knock it down to about a critic 9 out of 10, personal 10 out of 10. And then if I'm giving it a letter grade, I would say it is a definite A. So you got A minus A and then A plus. So it's definitely an A. And then if I was to recommend this game, I would say definitely a buy if you have a PlayStation. If you are a PlayStation fan, I wouldn't say fan, but if you have a PlayStation, it's definitely a must buy. I would say even if you played 2018 and you liked it, you're gonna love this game. It's definitely a buy if you have a PlayStation. And if you're waiting for this on PC, absolutely get it on PC. And I'm pretty sure it's gonna come out sometime this year, I think, in 2023. Yeah, so I would say it's definitely a must-buy game. But yeah, that's kind of my ratings on that and stuff. And yeah, we still have plenty of credits left. So yeah, so that's my overall review. I know I'm not very good at this. Usually I do this stuff off the top of my head. I just sit there and talk about my thoughts on the game and stuff. It's not a very well thought of video. It's not scripted or anything. I'm just going off the cuff. So maybe if I missed a lot of stuff, I do apologize. But this is that. I'm just talking about the stuff that I can remember because it has been quite a while since I played this game. So yeah, not everything's fresh. My thoughts aren't like fresh. So I've had some time to actually think about this. So a lot of the stuff, is my thoughts. A month and a half so later when the game was released. So I think now I'm going to talk about some future projects, some other things I want to do in the channel and stuff, and yeah, we'll do that. So the next project I have lined up is Crisis Core, because that's what I was playing when that came out. I was looking forward to that game. I am a Final Fantasy VII fan. I'm a lover of Final Fantasy VII. It's my favorite game of all time. Hence why I've recorded Final Fantasy VII Remake twice on the channel. I do plan on getting the original PlayStation version of the game up on the channel at some point. I just don't know when. But yeah. So I do plan to commentate that because I do think that those episodes can be a little bit shorter. Will be a little bit shorter because I think I'm going to be doing them based off the chapters. Because I'm not going to be doing like the side content or anything like that because a lot of the missions are pretty much like rinse and repeat type stuff, so I skipped a lot of those. But I will show the missions I've completed and all that stuff. But yeah, that's next. That's going to go up on the channel, and I can't wait to do that. And then after that, I'm thinking of doing a Last of Us playthrough, and it's not going to be the PS5 version of it. Sorry, I refuse to buy that game again, considering that they did nothing to it except up the graphics, and that's pretty much it. So I was not going to drop $70 on a game I've already played or bought twice pretty much because I played The Last of Us on the PS3, platinumed it. I played it on the PS4, platinumed it again. So yes, I have played The Last of Us numerous amounts of times. Yes. So But the reason why I want to do a playthrough of The Last of Us is because the HBO series came out and it actually surprised me how good it was. So, yeah, it kind of got me in the mood to play the game. So maybe I'll play it just to kind of flow along with the first season of The Last of Us, Yahoo, but we'll be doing it on the PS4 version of it because honestly the game still runs at 60 frames and it's great. So, that's just me. But yeah, I'm thinking that might be the next project after this. I'm glad I figured that out because I've been in that weird little funk where I've been trying to figure out what project I wanted to do next, and I think I finally found it because I'm trying to get shorter things done before I start doing longer RPGs or whatever. Luckily, Crisis Core is not really that long. I actually think that game was shorter than this, truth be told. I only put so many hours into it because I was grinding and stuff and doing side missions, so that's why I ended up playing that, putting more hours into it. But overall, the game is shorter than this, than God of War Ragnarok. So, like if I was just to go run through the story and whatnot. Um, but yeah, and then I think once I do Last of Us, maybe I might do multiple projects at once. I don't know. It might just be smarter to knock out multiple things at once. We'll see. But I still haven't decided what I wanted to do next. Besides that, I think I'm just trying to figure out what game I want to play, and then what game I want to play is going to be the one that I'm going to record and put on the channel. But yeah, with Crisis Core, I've said it before, I'll say it again. I will try to commentate that. I will commentate that so I can talk about it because I'm a huge Final Fantasy nerd. It's not even just 7. I like a lot of the Final Fantasies. Like my favorites are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12's pretty really good. 13 has its place. Um I'm not gonna crap on that game too much. I'm not gonna say it's, you know, it has its place. 13 has its place. I've beaten it twice. I've beaten the game twice. It's a game, it's fine for what it is. I'm not gonna be like one of those people who'd be like, it's the worst game ever. I've played worse games than that, to tell you the truth. And yeah, so those are some of my favorites. I haven't played the MMO because I would feel like I was getting sucked in. I get sucked into FOMO a lot sometimes, so those kinds of games would make me feel like I'm missing out all the time. I feel like I've missed out on so much. In Final Fantasy 14, I would love to play that game, but it's such a time sink. It's insane. It's absolutely insane to be like putting all that time and energy into that game. I'd have to put my entire soul into that game, and I do play Destiny, so you know. One MMORPG is good is enough, and even though Destiny's not really a super MMORPG, but anyways, I digress. Yeah, I do want to get the Final Fantasy games on there. I'm actually looking forward to the fact that they are releasing the pixel remasters on the console, which is yay! So then I can actually play 6 again and put it on the channel because I do have it on PC, but I haven't figured out if I can actually like record and upload that stuff to YouTube because it would be nice if I can do that because I think I can. So I have like the pixel remasters on PC, but if I do it on like once they come to like the PlayStation, I'll be able to do it a lot bit simpler, I guess, easier because I haven't learned like an editing software for the PC yet, or even the ability to see like what I can record and how I would do that. That would be interesting. Up my editing game here. That would be yeah. That's the next step. Is to learn editing software and make more produced content. I think is something I would like to do. Like do top tens or something like that of top tens or whatever, like my favorite games, like my top 10 characters in the game in this set RPG or whatever, top 10 weapons or whatever, I could do all sorts of top tens, which would be great to just sit there and talk about these games that I enjoy rather than just posting them on there, just playthroughs. Whoops. My headset decided to die there. Sorry for the quiet there for a second. My headset decided to turn off. But anyways, yeah. So I do want to get the Final Fantasies on there. And that's kind of like. Then I also want to do like the Trails series. They're starting to release those on the consoles, but I have the very first games, the Trails of Sky series. Those three games, I have those on the PC. I would love to get those on the channel. I want to do it in order though first, because like I started playing that series late. I started with the Trails of Cold Steel series, which sucked me into it. Now I'm going back and playing the older games, and to get more of like the lore, the big backstory of the game. But I want to get those on the channel because that's actually slowly become one of my favorite JRPG series. And then Persona 4 Golden just released today, so hell yeah. Hell to the yeah. I have that on PC as well, but now I have it on console, so I definitely want to do a Persona 4 Golden playthrough. Woo! Get that on the channel. Then I also want to do Persona 5 as well. Like so many RPGs I want to put on there because I am an RPG lover at heart. That is that is my favorite gaming genre. Um, yeah, my favorite gaming genre hands down. I like fighting games as well, but I'm not very good at them. I play them very casually, so yeah, don't expect any like fighting game tutorials or anything like that from me. um, yeah, definitely want to get Devil May Cry on there. I want to get some more Resident Evils. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is right around the corner here in like a couple months, and I cannot wait for that. You know, Resident Evil 4 remake. Dead Space, the Dead Space remake's coming out here pretty soon, and by the looks of that, it looks really good. And considering that Callisto Protocol came out and scared everybody into basically Dead Space again, they're like, nope, I'm waiting for this game. But they seem to be improving Callisto Protocol, so I've heard they've been doing some patches. They're going to do some gameplay improvements too, so I'm like, all right, I'll come back to that once they do that and check out and see if the game got better. And yeah, because I did do a review of it where I said it was like it felt massively disappointed. It was like a massive disappointment overall. Um, yeah, but those are just some of the things I wanted to do. There's a lot of other stuff, you know. There's a lot of games that I can name because I still haven't done Resident Evil 3 remake, which I do want to do. I still haven't really finished all of the Resident Evil 2 gameplays, doing like the scenario Bs or whatever. Actually, I don't even think I've done any of the scenario Bs, have I? I don't think so. I think I've only done scenario A for Claire and Leon. So I still need to do like the scenario Bs. So I still haven't finished all of like Resident Evil 2 remake yet, which I'm gonna get to. So yeah, getting to the end of the video, the end of the credits, the end of the video. So I'm going to sign off here. Thank you guys for listening to my review and me just rambling away. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I will see you guys in Crisis Core and The Last of Us in the future, and I will do my top 5 games of 2022. So see you guys in the next one. Peace.